Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the Heritage Show with Shakeel Garda this Friday night at 9 p.m. or a little bit after 9 p.m. We're a bit late. We'll speak about slum state just now. You know, being late is something we sort of forgive ourselves for sometimes, so we apologize for that. But this evening, we're speaking about Barakat, the movie. It's a film that celebrates family, culture, religion, the changing landscape of the Cape community as well as the country's community in terms of marriage and the loss of family members and all these things. Alles wat lekker is essentially. We are going to be discussing how this film is something that you should go and see at the Kiniko Studios before it goes off circuit this month end, which is this weekend essentially. So book your tickets already. Hopefully some of two lucky winners will be winning two tickets to this movie, including the Barakat, including the food, the refreshments. But that's if you guys engage with us. So please engage with us, and we will be giving you a call in the way that you can enter the competition. But before we do that, we are going to bring in Kino Lee Hunter and Mortimer Williams, two actors from the movie, Yasin and Zay Davids from Barakat, and they are going to join us this evening to speak about. Sorry, it's Hector, Kino Lee Hector.
Sounded
Sorry
quiet.
about that.
Sounded quiet.
No,
Kino Lee
I-
Hunter.
we can't speak about
I can
Hunter
take
tonight.
it.
But anyway, we are sorry about that, Kino, about that, the slip of the tongue. Ek het nou nie my les vir hom gemaak nie, you know what I mean? Like just like you didn't make the les vir hom in the movie and all that, Yasin. The half is late, but anyway, we'll speak about that soon. Welcome to Salam Media to both of you, and we are so happy to have you this evening. I think we can get into what this film means for the film landscape in South Africa, and just average people sitting and watching things that they can relate to on television and on the big screen as well. Should they make it to Ster-Kiniko before it gets off the screens? And we spoke about slum state now, being late, starting the show late, going to watch the movie late. It's okay, guys. You can do that. We condone it, unfortunately. But yeah. So to the two of you, welcome to Salam Media, and we're so happy to have both of you here.
Thank you.
The first thing that comes to
Shukran
mind
for having
for
us.
you, let's start with you, Kino. That comes to mind looking back at having shot this film and maybe seeing it now, having been played on the big screen, some feedback you've received and stuff like that. What comes to mind, Barakat?
I think it's just one of those things. I said it to I was with Danny this morning, who plays our other brother Noor in the movie, and I think it's just one of those things. It's like when you pull out your old photo albums and you look at those old Kodak pictures, and they're slightly faded, and the colors are they sort of like brown and orange, but that feels like home. That immediately feels like home, and it's recognizable, and it's a tangible feeling. It's something that you know without even questioning it, and I think that's what this movie does for me. I was lucky enough to see it at a sort of a premiere that was held in Paarl, and I think that everybody that from all walks of life, when they saw it, they could identify with at least one person in the movie, and I think that's what makes it so endearing.
And yourself, Mortimer, what's your first impression, first reflection on the film? If I just say Barakat, how was it?
It's exactly what Kino just mentioned now. It is that I'm one for nostalgia. I was just having a conversation with my wife earlier on and said, do they still make Vim? Do you remember Vim? And the Cobra, the Roy Blikkies to polish. You remember that? I don't even know if it's still around, but it's exactly that. It is that sense of nostalgia. One thing that does stand out a lot for me in the movie, like Kino said, is the lighting and just the ambience of the set itself. I watched the movie thrice. Sorry, I'm a sucker. Not to watch myself. I actually wanted to watch Kino's performance when you put him on there.
The facial expressions.
Of course, I made Robert De Niro Daibra. But for me, it was more of sitting and watching the movie and just that nostalgia, of days gone by, where I'm watching the film, but I can actually smell the home, if you know what I mean. I can smell the meals being cooked, etc. So it is that whole nostalgic feeling, that feeling of family. When you walk into somebody's house, it's not a house, it's a home. And that was what stood out a lot for me.
Yeah, no, I think I am not old enough to have my photos looking sepia and brown and stuff like that when I was a lady. But I grew up sitting exactly
Yeah,
as
your
Noor said.
albums are on Facebook, not like
Well, no,
Yeah.
I'm not
in a
that young.
cupboard.
I'm not that young.
Yeah.
But I'm not that young. But yeah, like I grew up. That scene where everybody's sitting and looking at the photo album and looking at how things were, and all of a sudden a story pops out. And I grew up with a lot of my family members being that kid that would sit and ask, who's this, who's that? And my auntie would sit on the couch next to me. Well, my grandmother was sick, and she was essentially on a last, if I can say. And my aunt from Cape Town came to visit in Joburg to see her mother. And the two of us sat on the lounge on the sofa and looking at this album. And she was telling me, yeah, there's Auntie Luri and ek dink sy het Mandingal and all that. So then I related this story to somebody recently and told them, yeah, my auntie told me that she Mandingal like 2009. So they said, nee, Auntie Luri, no net Mandingal, man. It wasn't that she died so long ago. But like the way these aunties were blonde when they were young, and when we met them, they were toegestik old, tannies with dookies and stuff. We didn't, and how our community starts off looking one way, and you die looking a different way. Like some of us say, yeah, you gaan terug Java too. You know what I mean? Your features go back to the islands when you get older. But when you were a youngster, you look different and things like that. So that scene was very relatable for me, and I'm sure many of the others. The first time I watched the film, we were alone, only the few us friends in the cinema because it was empty. It was a weeknight, so we could actually talk to the film while you guys were on there, and that scene where it said, your pa het 'n goeie job gedoen met julle en goeie manne groot gemaak. So then my friend said like she's now speaking to Aisha saying, and you did a crap job but everything went south, after the father dies and stuff like that. So, but which themes do you think, speak to the realities of life post losing a family member? Because the one kid goes off the rails a bit, and hy's nou in die club aan van la barang aan, so let's say, and the other guy questions his beliefs and stuff. I don't know if it was suggestive in the film that those were consequences of loss, or if that's just how the kids were even before the dad died, because we don't get to know that part of it, But I spoke to one of the producers, and you were saying some of these things are being told to them by viewers. We are consuming this thing differently and saying, oh, those things can happen after your parent dies, and So for you guys, what would you feel were the most relatable parts of maybe losing a family member, and how these characters embody that behavior? Quite atypically, not exactly how you're supposed to behave when you lose a family member, but it's natural, it's human, and they were all feeling different things. So I think you can speak from your character's point of view, maybe, and take us through that. We'll start with you, Mortimer.
Yeah, you know what? Everybody deals with loss in their own way, and I think the movie shows that quite clearly. Especially the brothers, each brother has a definite sort of trait to how they're dealing with their loss. I mean, for Zaid, I think it was more. Look, obviously he misses his dad, clearly, but it comes from a point of anger. It was more anger than anything else. But I mean, there are so many relatable kind of emotions that get shown within the movie, and especially the brothers. And I think all the guys, Kino, Joey, Danny, all portrayed that like 100%. I mean, with Kino's character Yasin, who is starting to question his own beliefs. People do go through that. I think Noor was just the stout one. He's used to jawling, but if his dad was around, he wouldn't try that kind of stuff. But I mean, there are so many relatable characteristics, and everybody deals with grief and loss in their own way. And I just think the way that it was portrayed, and even if it was suggested by the public as well, I think Amy and Ephraim did a fantastic job in just bringing that nuance sort of across. Yeah.
And the good thing is, it wasn't like very specific to say that this is now the journey of the kid that's dealing with it well or not well. There was no like narrator telling you that this is what they're feeling. You need to go home and think. And I watched it twice. The first time I watched it, I was like, no, guys, this is, misrepresentation. I'm angry, whatever. And then when I watched the second time, I realized, no, man, like this is life. People don't all sit with the Qurans after somebody dies. Some of them go through a rough patch and or are angry about the inheritance, and that's a very real thing. What I even spoke to Ephraim was that there was no uncle trying to steal the inheritance. It was just the ladies, the brothers, and oftentimes there is that extra family members that come in and get involved. And I'm sure those watching would infer those things, and it might even open a few sore wounds for people. But that's what art is. It's going to make you question your own self as well. So, and Kino, for yourself, for Yasin, even for the others, how would you feel that response to loss, was reflective of a reality in life?
Well, like you said, art has to reflect life, and it has to sort of make you think about things. I mean, if people are having discussions afterwards about whether or not it's a representation of truth, then I think the movie's done what it's supposed to do. If people can sit around and chat around what's happened in the film afterwards, then by all means they should. I think that if you look at the kind of life that people live, especially in the Cape Flats, not everybody is salih all the time. It's one of those things. A lot of people will sort of rebel, and live a bit more on the haram side of life, and then maybe they will change as they get older, and they realize the importance of the deen, and how they need to sort of pay more attention to what they were taught, whether it be at Muslim school or whether it's from their parents. I think it's just one of those things, and like you say, people relate to losing a loved one. I think if you haven't lost a loved one in your life, then you are blessed, and you should thank your lucky stars. I lost my father 13 years ago, and it's a grief, and it's very difficult to lose a parent, because it's almost like you lose a part of yourself. That person was always there, was always part of your life, and then when they disappear, it's like a hole that you need to find a way to fill. And I think if you look at the characters, they've all tried to fill that hole, maybe not necessarily in the most positive ways or in the most successful ways, but I think they've all tried in their own way to sort of deal with what was left behind. And if you look at characters like Noor, I mean, you do find Muslim kids that go out and they party, probably not the night before Eid. It's not a good thing to do. But you do find, I used to work in the club industry a long time ago, and we always used to say when it's fast, the clubs are empty. So it kind of does show you that there is quite a bit of Muslim people still out and partying and so forth. And like I say, everybody deals with grief and loss in different ways. Yasin himself, he's, as he says in the movie, he's going through a bit of an existential crisis. It's quite funny for me. If you are Muslim, the dua that you make before you break fast, it's something that just trips off your tongue. It's not like I think it's something that you can't forget. You know what I mean? It's almost like you learn it sort of parrot fashion when you were a kid, and then as you get older, it's just something that just comes out, and it sort of shows you how far removed he is from his religion, that he stumbles across it, and he stumbles when he's doing it at the table. So I think he's definitely having an issue and trying to sort of find his space in the world after his dad has left. I think his father was sort of his anchor and the person that kept him on the path. And I think he's definitely sort of lost his way a little bit. And whether or not that's been resolved, we might have to wait for Barakat too.
Na die eerste Barakat opgeëet is. But no, I think that's true. In fact, I'm sure you guys know the joke of Allahumma laka afsuntu abuka when I want to. That's clearly what Yasin was doing all the time. And yeah, and I think the fact that he was this academic at university is also a commentary on that space as well, because a lot of us go to varsity and we find like we do philosophy or whatever, and we get told, you know what, you're going to lose your dean there, and it's especially in those courses you are going to ask questions about your Islam or your faith or whatever, and the fact that this academic is the one that's questioning it is also like, yeah, sien ek het gesien, ek het gesê, you know, you mustn't go to varsity and become this academic person or whatever. And again, that's not inferred, but I'm only realizing the stuff, thinking more about the movie in conversation with other people. And that's why those who have watched it, I keep telling them, can we please chat? Because like I told you, my first reaction to my friends was like a bit quiet. I was not the most excited person coming out of there. But as the days are going by, I'm actually thinking more about how human the characters are and how that's just being reflected back at us. So yeah. We at some point of this evening we're going to be running a competition, and one person will be winning 2 tickets with refreshments to watch this film
with
that
Barakat.
they can redeem. Yeah, Meri Barakat. Yeah, so they'll basically be able to redeem this before it leaves their town or city or wherever they are. So we basically need to come up with a question that they can answer. But obviously, if they didn't watch the movie, they're not going to get a movie for specific question, right? So what do you guys think? We can ask the listeners, you know, to answer for us.
Oh, that's a difficult one.
Yeah. Did they watch the trailer?
That's the thing. If the answer is no, you can't win. Because I'm also thinking, you know what? Let me pick your brains.
It's a tough one if you don't know anything about the movie.
Well, maybe some of the actors in there, like Vanette, in which stuk did she play for like over 20 years?
that could be one. Yeah,
it's a dead giveaway.
I'm trying to think of the themes of the film and related to that, but okay, we'll get to it just now maybe. Tell me about the side characters. You know, those who come in and out, and you know, there's a very notorious neighbor that comes in and out, and she's almost like this crush auntie that doesn't think before she speaks, and haar gesig sê dit alles, you know.
But we all have that one. We all have that one. We all grew up with one like that.
No, that's the thing. When you leave the suburbs, I mean, when you leave the old areas and you live in the suburbs, is daar nie meer auntie wat vir jou ma kan vertel nie, you know what I mean? And just say that's my biscuit, you know.
Yeah.
If you don't have that auntie in your life, then you are that auntie.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That is true. That's so true.
So yeah, in terms of that, you know, do you guys have someone in your lives that maybe that you grew up with that was for Barak completely welcome to say what he or she feels in your family home, and maybe helped you out in life, even in retrospect, where you thank that person if you could, to say, you know what, thanks so much for being there, for being that person. Yeah, anything that you guys can relate to from that point of view?
Yeah. No, we used to have an auntie. We used to call her Auntie Annie. I still didn't even know her real name. Auntie Annie. Yeah, hoe probeer dit. En sy was glad nie soetie, bro. Sy was nie soetie. She was one of those aunties that used to call a spade a shovel. You know what I mean? And that my mother used to tell her, Auntie Annie, filter. En sy sê, wat's 'n filter? Waarvan praat jy? And Auntie June's character of was net so gewees. There was one at the beginning of the movie where Dr. Albertus, Uncle Bertie, asked Fadila, asked her, what was it, Kino? Hoe gaat dit met jou? Hoe's jou kop seer vandag? Nee, hy sit by die huis, hy watch TV. That was my best line. And that was an auntie like that. Yeah, but no, we all have one of those aunties in our lives. And yeah, obviously grew up with those aunties. And I wouldn't necessarily thank them because kan nie gewag dat die auntie uit my huis uit moet gaan. Dis die hele ding. Yeah.
I think sometimes you need that auntie to sort of broach subjects that you weren't able to bring up before your parents, you know, like they would sometimes just blaka out something like, ek hoor jy wil sokker speel. And then maybe your daddy was like, nee, jy kan nie sulke speel nie, but you needed someone to bring it out into the open, so that the discussion at least could be had. And sometimes that was that auntie's, that was that auntie's sort of function in the world that you lived in. And I mean, working with someone like Auntie June is so crazy. She is such a legend from going up fishy fashions. I mean, I was lucky enough to work with her on 3 seasons of Sarah Sagaim, and I'll tell you, like for me, Afrikaans is not my first language. So I struggle sometimes to learn the lines. Not so much anymore because I've got a little bit more experience. But in those days when I started on Sarah Sagaim, and Auntie June came to me and she said, "Wat gaan aan my kind? Is jy alright? Jy like a bietjie worried? Jy like a bietjie wat gaan aan? Is sy nervous or what gaan aan?" And I was like, "No, Auntie June, man, I'm struggling because I've known Auntie June since I was about 18 years old. So that's why I call her Auntie June." And she was like, I said, "No, I'm just struggling because Afrikaans is not my first language, blah, blah, blah." She said, "Nee, my kind, jy's mooi, kom, ons gaan werk." And she stood there and worked through the scenes with me. And like she didn't have to do that. She's a veteran, she's a legend. And to take some time out of her day to make sure that my scenes, that I felt better about the work that I was going to do, it just shows you what a generous person she is. And, that she can still take time out to help her fellow actor. I mean, it's just such a pleasure to work with her.
Ja, and there's one thing about that auntie that sy kan nooit 'n gefriet reg getrek nie. You know what I mean? That there's no telling her to fix her face in any situation. But we're gonna be back in a few moments because we need to run a competition soon. 2 complimentary tickets are going to the person that answers the question right after the trailer is played. So we're gonna play the trailer. So there's no excuses for anyone who missed the trailer.
Yeah.
And then play it, come back, and we're gonna ask a question based on that trailer. Miskien kan ons van almal fitna in die chat box tussen die van ons about what question that's going to be. But those of you who are watching, listening, please hold tight because we're going to be asking you a question based on what's in the trailer. So stay tuned and we'll be back in a few moments.
Aisha Davids. Sal jy met my trou?
Aisha, wat? Sy weet ek sy's 'n pensionaar, né? Wat word jy nou opgeskep sa mansmens op jou ou dag? Abdul lê nog lou warm in sy graf.
Assalamualaikum. Ja, julle is vroeg, ja.
Wat het die boys te sê oor Albertus? Hulle Pietie, ek het 'n plan. Ek gaan ons almal oorkry vir hulle parang en dan gaan ek die nuus vir hulle breek, maar op 'n mooi manier.
Wow, wag. Wat gaat hier aan?
Sy's engaged. Wat? Wag nou. Kan ek net my moment enjoy kan hulle?
Ek wil so 'n bietjie stil staan deur te praat oor Barakat.
Mommy doesn't know what she's doing.
It's not love. Says who?
He's a nice man.
Ek gee nie om nie.
Sal jy at least try om 'n man te leer ken?
Wie is Abu Talib in die Koran?
Mohammed se oom.
Wat is die 9de maand van die jaar?
Ramadan.
What is the call to pray?
Adan.
Sy sê welcome hier nie. Ons het 'n pa gehad en sy sal nooit hom visie.
Pa sou baie disappointed gewees het, so wel ek kasam.
Daai vrou sit altyd ander mense se happiness vir haar eie. En ek sorry so net, maar ek kan nie meer daai vrou visie. If I didn't love Zaid so much, I'd be long gone.
Just because your park wife sits on your head, you think you can treat us all like puppies, huh?
Yes, kyk wat ek gou gaan.
To be smoking boom.
Then also tell you eating agter die backyard. I'm starting to feel like the black sheep. Noor gets to stay here. Mommy stryk sy onderbroekies.
Nou bring jou onderbroekies.
Maar hy sê ding van families. Almal voel of hulle hoort. Kyk hoe klou ek. Klou? Dis nie 'n klou nie, hy's menopause goedes. Jy sweet Aisha.
Ja, sy is sweet jong. En ek sweet ook. Ek weet nie wat om vir mense te vra nie. So yeah,
Maybe we should,
cognizant of the
maybe we
fact that
should
people
ask them.
haven't watched the movie, what do you think we should ask? But now, don't give the answer because hulle gaan hoor, you know what I mean?
I
Ek
think
het
we
gesê-
should ask them
Ah,
what is the name of the character that Mr. Leslie Fong played on Isidingo.
Now
so
you think
many years.
intertextual. That's intertextual now. That's not bietjie.
That's
Swaar
on
mense,
on
man.
that's on
Wat sê
another level.
Jackie Chan.
So I was gonna hit them with one of the questions they're busy asking Uncle Bertie there on the table, where Joey's going hectic level stuff there for him.
Yeah.
That was one of my suggestions. I don't know what Motimus, do you have any ideas?
I said
I don't think it shouldn't have to do with other things, because if as I only watched it, then you know what I mean.
I was saying who plays Aisha Davids in Barakat.
That's
That'd be
okay.
that easy.
Okay. I'm going to give this to you guys, those of you who are watching, right? You are now asked a question. What you need to do is tag 3 people in the comment section that you want to bring with the movie, and then answer the question correctly. So if you don't tag the 3 people and you answer correctly, your entry is invalid. You have to do both. You have to answer the question correctly, and you have to
Tag 3 people.
tag 3 people. Yeah. Thanks for
Mortimer,
helping me there.
I got
You can't enter
So-
Mortimer.
But come on, man. I want to watch a movie again. It's such a
Hey.
quiet stick, man. I just want to see if she eventually strikes Kino's onderbroekies.
Behind the scenes.
Famous wie's net vir daai lyn, bro.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna ask a question, right? If you,
Okay.
because we said they must watch the trailer, right? Now, if they watch the trailer, okay, the names were there, but that's iets wat daar gebeur het, né? Wat vir my so controversial is, because mense like nie van hy te praat nie, especially vir manne en allerlei. Die wat vir haar laat sweet, you know, is nie dat sy glow nie of sy noer het van gadge nie. Daar's 'n ander rede according to Antifadila wat die vir ons sweet. So if you watch the trailer properly, tell me in the comment section why is so sorry to Zainab Musa. The question that was asked earlier isn't the question, the Vanet Ibrahim question. That's not the one that I'm going to ask now. You need to listen carefully, right? In the trailer, there's a scene where Aisha, according to her, is glowing. Now, some people glow from Hajj, you know, the beautiful glow that they have, or they have Noor, or they are in love. But in the movie, her neighbor Fadila tells her that she is sweating for another reason. I want you to comment in the comment section the reason why she's sweating according to Fadila, and tag your 3 people. So to those of you watching, your answers are all invalid because you answered the wrong question, your Mortimer's question. Was nie toegelaat.
No, that
nie,
was
dat
just a
was not.
suggestion. That was a suggestion for a
Okay,
question.
we have Zainab Musa engaging with the answer. Zainab, tag your 3 people. Anyone else got a answer for us? Whoever all the names will answer correctly are going to a draw, and then we're gonna have to simsalabim the name there that we actually end up with at the end of this.
Simsalabim,
I'll give you guys 3 minutes. So just to repeat to those who didn't hear properly or haven't cleaned their ears out recently, tag 3 people and answer the question: why was, according to Fadila, Aisha sweating when they were busy buying salat tops there, talking about love and relationships and things like that? Yeah, we'll keep a few moments. At least we can't relate to that, Owens. You know what I mean? That's something we'll
Well,
never have to worry about.
actually, you have to worry about it later on. when you reach mine and Kino's age, that's the hey. Kino?
Then you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I want.
there we go.
This
I won't
gray
say-
is not for nothing, bro.
Answers must menopause. Anyway, so I'll give a few more moments for people to give. I just said it now, but anyway, give a few more moments to answer. And yeah, I'm gonna ask Sadiq after it's now 9:39 at 9:40. Please can you DM me all the names that have correctly tagged 3 people in their response and correctly answered. All right. So that'll be in 1 minute. Sadiq, if you don't mind, can you please DM me all the names that have correctly tagged 3 people and given the answer to the question that Aisha is sweating because of. So I'll wait for Sadiq to get back to me. Please, Sadiq, don't miss anybody out. I don't want people queuing outside here tomorrow saying, "Where's my Barakat?" Please. We don't have extra barakat for anyone.
Adulty.
As we wait. Okay.
People mustn't expect that they can get like a basket of samosas or something like that.
A
I mean, it's
basket.
probably going to be a popcorn and a cool drink. I don't know about.
Yeah,
People are looking for half
unfortunately,
moons.
Sturkiniko wasn't taught about following the asal properly, the real way of doing stuff properly. So they gave us they're giving us popcorn and things like that, all those new things, modern things. I'm expecting my brain kadusi with a banana and a nachi and an apple for the throw, but at home. We go with the hadat mass to go make hadat, and then people at home are expecting that thing to come home and to eat it and all that stuff. And now some people are on Herbalife, like my family's on Herbalife now. So when I bring it home, it's actually poison. So I tell them, look here, I don't want one anymore. Just keep it here, Allah. I'm not taking it. I'm giving Sadiq a few more minutes to just check that.
It's your Herbalife, bro. Oy, yo.
But yeah, in the meantime, please, those of you who are not going to win, because everybody isn't winners, unfortunately, start looking at Sturkiniko's scheduling times so that you can make plans to go to the movies soon. And COVID is very safe. The movies are very safe regarding COVID. I promise you.
Yeah,
nobody's there really.
They are.
So take your whole family and laugh yourself sick and talk about things loudly there. Be gaan gehoor aan, soos hulle sê. And don't worry. Yes, go for it. Talk. Interrupt me.
I think it's a good idea for whoever's planning to go. I mean, it's only until Sunday in most parts of the country. There's talk of an extension, but that's definitely not confirmed yet. But I know that we even in Namibia, there's some places where it's playing. So we've gone international.
Yeah.
No, but
we
it's
were in
very
Australia
important.
now, eh?
Yeah, no, we just did the
Saam met almal die mense wat daar getrek het.
another film festival. Yeah, and in fact, my family out in, I guess every brown person has family in Australia from South Africa. They went to watch it and they said that the cinemas were full. In fact, it was sold out.
Melbourne, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in Melbourne specifically. Anyways, but it's very important to call the cinema that you want to go to make sure that the time of the show is on and that they are actually showing. If you follow Barakat Movie on Instagram or on Facebook, then they have all the sort of the information. And if you or you can actually just phone any of the cinemas and find out what time is showing and if it is actually showing. It's very important because we don't want you to get there and then it's not there.
And it's not
Correct.
I just have to mention as well, Kino, back me up on this. So aren't we top 5 at the box office?
Yeah, we are number 5, I think. And the other movies are all international movies, so I think that's pretty good. So and thanks to everybody who has seen it and who's supported the local film industry in this way.
Look, I think what's going to happen is that many people are a bit COVID bang still, so they're waiting for it to come on other platforms, and we will definitely see that. If you guys can give me a second, I'm just going to pop this into something I can shake and then pull out one of the names. Just give me a second. Ek het nou nie, ek het in die kar in.
Sê jy? In die kar, wat soek dit in die kar?
Wat doen dit in die kar? I had a log, that skip koffie is on just now van Java, van Indonesia. But I thought, you know what, you're on radio now, let's look a bit fancy. And, the hair looks a bit nicer after the coffee comes off and stuff. But unfortunately, okay, I'm just going to shake it, right? I'm going to shake it. And, okay, this is... Okay, Fatima, you are the winner. Enjoy the movie. You're only taking one person worth. So, yeah. Soos hulle sê in die Kaap, baie slamat. Slamat to you for winning this complimentary tickets for you and a +1 to watch this movie at any Sturkiniko nearest you. Please check the app, please check the website. You are going to get your snaps and stuff as well. But this doesn't mean that the others look at us now with sour faces here because you didn't win. You're still going to watch the movie. Those who didn't win, please. You still need to watch the movie. And I see Kino there being a typical dad. They're saying, but he can nou wegja van
slap.
My son's woken up now, so he's
shame, man.
He's looking for me.
Sorry, guys. Anyway, so that's the winner for this evening's draw. Fatima, tell your friends, tell your family, Yusuf, Zainab, everybody else that Irshad, whoever took part, Auntie Fazlin is watching. Say for the Domingos, uitstick. Please support this film and please be there, guys. Go get your barakat. And don't be. It's definitely very safe to go. I'm telling you now. There is sanitizer. You sit separately. There's no come sit langs aan my man. You know nobody can do that. And how's it there, boyki? You awake? His first time on Salam Media. Welcome to Salam Media.
Yes.
Anyway,
Assalamu alaikum.
so yeah.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Say again.
Assalamualaikum.
Alaikum salam. We're not going to ask you the dua for breaking a fast. Don't worry. We won't do that.
Your daddy don't even know it.
You know what happened to me when I was a kid? Now we have the Jamaat that comes knocking on the door. Every once a week they'll come where we used to live, and they would like remind you of Islam and the Deen and give you some advice and stuff. And they asked me, I was maybe 7 years old, and they asked me, I was alone now. Everybody standing around me. You know, what's the biggest gift that Allah gave us as Muslim? So I don't know what I said, but it wasn't the right answer according to the script, you know. And I was very upset because I didn't get the answer right. So my father told the man after like a few days later, yeah, you don't do that to kids, and you know, it's very intimidating what you did and all that stuff. Obviously now, being my age now, it's something silly like, okay, of course you can ask the kid, you know, but parents are parents, and they stick up for their ladies, you know. So I think that's what the theme of Barakat is about. If you are a parent, if you are a kid, if you've lost somebody, if you whatever it is, you will find something to relate to. And jy hoef nie slams te wees nie. You don't need to be Muslim to watch this movie. It really is for everybody, because everybody goes through all these things. And there is subtitles for those of you who don't know Afrikaans. I know I have a lot of family members, especially here in Joburg, that don't really know Afrikaans and stuff. So, and for all the colored people in Durban, you will be able to read the subtitles. Don't worry.
Yes, it's shame, man.
Anyway, yeah. So moving on from the competition, we have like I think five minutes or so, you know, to speak. Auntie Fazlin says that she's very proud of you guys, of the whole team for putting together this film. Let's see. Fatima Dean says she can't wait to see it. Yeah, so there's no other comments because I think people are also maybe sleeping. I don't know. But please, guys, tell your family, tell your friends to go watch this film. And I'm going to ask each of the guys your closing remarks on this movie Barakat and why it's important and why people should watch it and why such films need to be made. I'll start with Kino.
Now, look, I think it's very important for a movie like this to be made. It's about representation. It's about seeing that it can be done, and that it has been done, and that if you put your mind to it, then things can be achieved. And I also want to say shukran to everybody who has supported it thus far, even if it's sharing it on your Facebook page or anything like that, or telling your friends you need to go and watch it. You only have until the end of the weekend. Mika. You only have until the end of the weekend. Sorry, guys. So you need to jump on it and get it together, get your family and go and do it. But I think it's very important for a movie like this to exist because it shows that it can be done, and it paves the way for other stories like this to be made. Yeah. I think one of the most important things is that it takes the narrative away from brown people in this country, or as I like to say, black lights. It takes the narrative away from gangsterism, from violence, and it moves it more towards showing that, especially in the climate that we're facing, especially in the climate that we're facing in the world at the moment. I mean, it's difficult to speak about Muslims and not mention Palestine, but I think it's important for us to show Muslims as human, as normal, everyday people who go through the same issues that everybody else goes through. You know, my mother-in-law went to watch it at the Labia Theatre in Cape Town in the CBD, and what she was surprised at was that there were so many of our lighter skinned brothers and sisters coming to see the movie. And I think it's beautiful that they get to see, they get to peek into the life of a Muslim family and see that even though there are differences, there are more similarities.
Definitely. Ek wil nou amper gesê het, ons mense perform al jare vir hulle al. You know, there's no surprising about that. But no, I'm teasing. Motemo, onto you. I'm busy breaking serious moments here with my nonsense. But please
Nee,
go.
maar dis reg man. I just want to tell Kino gira laat jy dalsie daar man. No, you know what the thing is about this movie for me is it showcases and it highlights the importance of family. And like we said way back at the beginning of the conversation, that how people deal with loss. Look, I lost my mom in January this year. So, I mean, there's still that void. And how a family, it just so happens that it is a Muslim family, but it also shows the beauty of the Islamic culture. Where, like Kino said, we don't want to stereotypically put people in a category, you know, as people of the lighter complexion associated with the gangsterism and the drugs and all those kind of things. And I think this movie was so important to be made to break that norm and that stigma that is attached to us, and just show we are human. We are just like you. It's a family. We laugh, we cry. I mean, we get angry. It is day-to-day normal things. And it just shows that family is important. And you know what? Treasure those that are close to you. And if you have any differences, especially the time that we're in now, especially with this COVID thing. I mean, I've lost quite a few people to this COVID thing. And everyone is going, oh, die COVID ding nie. They got this theory and this theory. But the bottom line is, last year with the lockdown thing, especially for us artists, I mean, everything came to a grinding halt. The whole country came to a grinding halt. The whole COVID thing, it was numbers. It was all numbers. This is how many cases, what. But now this year, what I've noticed is those numbers have turned into names for me personally, because I know people who have passed on due to this. And I know of people and friends, close friends, who are in hospital fighting for their lives now. So I think people really need to watch this movie, because it will, even if it's just for an hour and a half, take your mind off the negativity that's going on out there, and just actually lag 'n bietjie sit, lag, huil, but basically get out there, enjoy yourself. I mean, the cinemas are very safe, like you did say. I mean, I've been thrice. As baie, jy kan jou popcorn, daar's sommer 'n stoel vir jou popcorn en nog 'n stoel vir jou cold drink. So. But it's and it's just to break away from what's happening, especially abroad as well. And weet jy, elke huis dra sy kruis. It just makes you sit back and think how precious life is and how precious your family is, and makes you appreciate it even more.
100%. I couldn't have said it better, either of you. I mean, I think that the fact that it is such a hard time is all the more why we need this. We need art to come tell us to just like sit down, relax, enjoy the show, and yeah, it's going to open up wounds, you know, no doubt about that. I'm sure. Even the showing the whole Kubus thing, you know, some people have been to Kubus, haven't been, or whatever, not really going, whatever, and even that, you know, you think back to things that we just take for granted. Even in the movie, they're greeting on Eid, they're holding hands, they're shaking hands, and look at how in the movie, you know, I don't want to say too much, but there's a time where waar die skoondokter nie niks te doen met die skoonma wil hê nie, but immediately when things look like they're going south, the everything's different, and now it's no, you know, we need to go, it's family, we have priorities, and we have to be there, and that's exactly it, you know, when when things look like they are urgent, our priorities are completely put back, in place, and we shouldn't wait for it to be there. Unfortunately, we just are like that. Everything's more important than that, you know. Somebody said, Auntie Fazlin said, congrats on the award, Mortimer Williams, and Kino, you are an excellent actor. Well done to you too. Die aunties over julle dop.
Shukran, Titi.
Dis vir Auntie.
Ja, die pas al nou lekker klaar, joh. Anyway, we have, so I think you guys really summed it up well. This movie is for everybody looking for something to laugh about, cry about, remember, reminisce, look at your family albums, come home and go visit your neighbor. You know, I mean, these people really crave company. Eh? These old people, even though they're saying don't come visit and stuff, when you do go, they really are looking for that little bit of company. And somebody even said, you know, we should be a bit more open-minded about people coming into the DN and their learning journeys and processes, because this movie is also about that. You know, sometimes we're a bit hard on our people coming in and marrying in and all that stuff like that, and we don't need to be that way. Many of us forget that even those very people that come to watch the movies, you know, that you mentioned, Kino, ons het great grannies van hulle af, you know, wat Muslim geword het, and they really had to go through struggles to sit at that table, you know, to be part of that culture. And apartheid and colonialism and slavery even had so many challenges, where today those barriers are not there, but they're within us, and we need to actually get rid of them. So go learn about yourself at Barakat, guys, and it's ending this weekend. Please don't be a slum state and on Monday come say, "Maar waar was my Barakat, man? I was there, I was waiting." It will be over, so you would have missed out. And yeah, to the two of you, you know, really appreciate the time. You taking out. I was this kid with my father actually at the school of Radio The Voice. There was no webcam that time, but I was busy whispering on the side there while he was presenting, and I used to be sketching old BMWs while doing that. So maybe you'll end up somewhere after this. I don't know. You know, you just never know what emits from your screen. So yeah, all the best to the two of you. We'll speak again definitely, and we hope to see all of you at the cinema. And yes, if you don't go, we are going to scream about you. So please make your way to Barakat.
Cool.
Any last words, guys, before I close?
Go watch the movie. Go watch the movie. Kino, I miss you. We must do a date when I'm back in Cape Town. Ons moet praat.
Sisters.
Of course. No, my wife makes the best sisters here in Joburg. I'm just saying.
No. I'm also in Joburg. I also want now.
Okay, here in West Team. Okay, in West.
Yeah, don't say it now.
I got to see any.
As you still say, Neo.
Yeah, no, we've got a bit of a Cape Malay thing going here called Lekker J. So it's
was that on Funny Cup?
Yeah, most.
Oh, okay. I think I did see that. Yeah. Okay, quite. It's not far from me, so yeah, I shall know. I'm coming with my container there, and I will definitely compare it to my mother's.
You can go to diet.funnycup.com and you.
Nee, ga nie dit doen nie, man. Okay, well, the people that are watching, please do that. Please repeat yourself, Mortimer.
Yes, it's on diet.funnycup.com, and find a sister maker near you. You'll find us there. It's called Lekker J, and I'll bring Kino sisters. Westdene, yeah.
Okay, you heard it from the horse's mouth, people. So yes, Kino, are you selling anything? Please let us know. Because are you smoking anything? You know, just tell us, please. If you are smoking something, please tell us. You know.
I'm a little connection. No, I just want to say, Mika, enough. I just want to say, shukran for having us. We really appreciate it. And we thank you. We thank everybody for the support. And like I say, go chat about the movie afterwards. Tell all your friends. Hopefully we'll be able to get it onto streaming platforms and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But like we will obviously make more announcements as that goes. And if you please try and follow the movie on the socials. They are on Instagram. I think it's Barakat Movie, and they have a Facebook page, and all the information will be there. All the information will be there. Okay.
Yeah.
But
now, and comments. Yeah. Shukran, man.
Okay, guys, that's it from us at Salam Media. Ons gaan ons salam sê vir almal. And for those of you that are watching, please go and watch the movie. I'm tired of saying it now. I need to go drink water now because I've said it so many times. So, you know, don't let me speak again, please. All the best. You guys will catch up. And that's it from me. Assalamu alaikum.
Bye.
Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's us, Salam Media, closing off Shakeel Garda's Heritage Show this evening on this Friday night. Go watch the movie Barakat and go and immerse yourself in something that will make you laugh, make you cry, and make you reflect. That's all from me. It's Insta Kiniko Studios till the end of the weekend, so you still have some time to make your way there. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.